You ready? Let's roll it. Raising kids is hard, no matter where you are in the world. But raising African kids in the United States is a whole different level of challenge. As African immigrant parents, we're trying to hold on to our values, our cultures, and our identity while raising kids in a society that sees the world very differently. And if you've ever felt stuck between two cultures, worried about your kids growing too American, or struggle to discipline without feeling guilty, this video is for you. In this segment, I'll be breaking down 7 major challenges that we face as African immigrant parents raising our kids in the United States. And more importantly, I'll be sharing some real practical solutions that can help you handle each one of these challenges. Challenge number 3, education system differences. Another big challenge that African immigrant parents face is adjusting to the American school system. Not just how it works, but how it shapes our kids. Now, in many African households, school is serious. You're expected to focus, and yes, there is pride in that. But when our kids enter American schools, things start to shift. The system here encourages creativity, emotional expression, and individualism, which we can call independence. And many of us begin to feel like the school or even the teachers don't respect or acknowledge our cultures, our African cultural values. And it can feel like the moment our kids start school, they begin to reject their values. They begin to reject their cultures. They begin to reject Africa. They begin to reject their roots. And suddenly they don't want to speak their language. They don't want to eat their food. They don't want to wear their traditional clothes anymore. And they might even tell us we're too harsh when we ask them to do these things. And in some extreme cases, some of the kids actually threaten to call 911 or the CPS when we discipline them in the way we were raised. Let's be real. That's not just frustrating, that's scary. We start to feel like we're losing our children to a system, to a society that doesn't see the value in where they come from. And so how do we deal with this fear without becoming angry or without giving up? One of the first things we have to do is do not assume that your kids are being radicalized. Do not make that assumption, because your kids are being influenced, not radicalized. Influenced by their teachers, influenced by their peer, influenced by the media, and even by the very different cultural environment in which they find themselves. These are the things that influence our children. They are not being radicalized by anyone, but they are being influenced. There is a difference. And sometimes they are just trying to survive social pressure. But I'll tell you, if they can be influenced by these things, it's because they go around these things too often. It's because they frequent themselves around these people. It's because their teachers, their peer, the media, the environment is what they find themselves around most often. But if you intentionally make them find you around, if we intentionally make them find us around, we intentionally include them, then we can influence them as well. So, not radicalization, but influence. And to help them stay grounded, we must make home where culture is lived, not just talked about. Our homes must be living temples of our culture. Our culture must be lived in the way we speak to them. Our cultures must be lived in the way we cook. Our cultures must be lived in the way we relate to one another. We must show our culture. We must make it present in our homes, not force it on them. Not a place where culture is forced, but a place where culture is lived. Celebrate your heritage with pride, but oh my God, also explain the why behind the cultural value. That is very important. Don't just celebrate, don't just force them to live it. Explain the why behind that cultural value. We must teach them that our culture is not something to be ashamed of. It's something to be proud of. I've seen parents come to my office back in the days and they tell me, oh, And they're with the kids. And they tell me, I can't take my food to my workplace because each time I warm it in the microwave, the entire office is smelling West African food. And the parents are saying this in the presence of their children. And so what does that tell the child? You are ashamed at the smell of your food. And so that doesn't explain pride in your culture. That doesn't explain pride in your tradition. Yes, we must be respectful of other people, especially in public places. But hey, don't make it look like you messed up because your food smelled certain spices. That's your food. That's what you resonate with. That's what you grew up eating. That's what makes you satisfied. Some of our parents laugh at the kids when they dress up in their traditional dresses or in their traditional clothing. Sometimes we call them, oh, you look like a country person, or you look like a villager, or you look like a primitive person. We make those side comments. Sometimes it's just the expression that we have in our faces when we see somebody show up in an official meeting dressed in their traditional regalia. And sometimes those comments might feel like we're appreciative that they can come in like that, but we clearly make it look like they are different coming like that. Yes, they are different, but proudly different. Because to them, that should be the norm, not conform. We must talk to our kids before the pressure gets too big. Ask them what school is like and listen to them. Take the time to listen to what they tell you. Listen to them when they tell you they feel embarrassed or they feel different. Don't just shut them down in shame. Help them process it, because that's exactly what they feel. That feeling is real. They go to school and they're so different, and sometimes they feel embarrassed. These are just kids, and yes, it's real. Don't talk them down. Don't tell them you have to stand up, you have to be strong, you have to stand your head up. No. Process that with them. Listen to them when they tell you that. Don't shut them down. Don't tell them, welcome to America. No, that's not how you deal with it. Show them empathy. Make them understand the emotional connection. Make them understand that you feel their pain. And we must build bridges between our values and their values. We must make sure we don't widen the gap between what we consider as values versus what they consider as values. We must build bridges. We must have a meeting point, because they are living in a time and place that is so different from the one that we lived in when we were their age. So let's not widen the gap by overemphasizing our values, by overforcing, but let's explain the why. Let's bridge the gap. Let's show understanding. Let's show emotional connection with our kids. Instead of saying you must respect elders, explain to the kid that respect builds stronger relationship. Every culture will understand that when you show respect, not just for elders, but for everybody around you, you build stronger relationship. Explain the why I should respect my elder. Explain the why respect as a value is core and central to the African culture. Get involved. Get involved. Don't just be a spectator. Don't just stay away. Don't just be that parent who doesn't know what's happening in school, who doesn't understand the school system, who cannot get involved. You have to get involved. Talk to the teachers. Advocate for inclusion. Ask the school to incorporate more multicultural content. And yes, one that includes African culture. You have a voice to say that, to ask that. I see many parents live in areas where there's so many African children that go to a particular school. But do you have a voice to ask for an inclusion of multicultural content in that school? Something that reflects your kids, something that reflects who they are, something that reflects your culture. You have that voice. Raise it. Get involved. Take action. Don't just sit back and expect things to change. They won't. Because the more we show up, the more our voices will be heard.